Hello, everybody, and welcome to our author story time tonight. I'm so excited. Just come on in, welcome you all in. We're just gonna give you an opportunity to come in. Once you come in, share this because they'll also make it more of a family time, a conversation. We will introduce our guest author for the evening and have a live reading and Q&A. And so as you are coming in, let us know that you're here. Say hello. Again, we're going to give you all some time to come in. Again, share this on your live so that it could be all the more shared with everybody. That way we can have as many people as possible in this conversation. I love when I'm able to have an opportunity to talk to the genius behind books. I know many of us, when we're trying to get our children excited about books, one of the things that we also do at Breakfast with Books is always having guest authors, because I truly believe that when they see a face and they can hear the story behind it, it motivates them all the more to want to read. So we got quite a few people in here. They saying hello. That's my friend. Okay, okay. Hello. We are so happy to see you. Hey. They saying hey, Faye. So welcome. Come on in. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time today. Uh, just so you all know, this is definitely an interactive experience. That's why I'm moderating the chat, pulling up comments, because we do want this to be an opportunity for, as Tammy is sharing her story and sharing her book, that if you have questions, we will have a Q&A at the end. If you have questions for her, questions for me, questions about the book, please let us know and we'll make sure those are addressed. But again, this is our author story time with Tammy Finley-Stewart. So thank you for coming in. We got some more folks. Go Tam, says Rhea. Okay, all right. We are in here. We are in here. So first of all, let me say thank you, Tammy, for doing this. I I appreciate you. I'm sure as we learn more about your story and the inspiration behind it, we'll be able to, like I said, get into some good conversation. So as you're coming in, I'm going to make sure that everyone is in. Cool. Everyone is in. And we're gonna jump right into our conversation. Again, as you come in, share this because again, it will allow us to be able to have as many people as possible a part of this conversation. I know you want to share it on your page. So I want to make sure that I have it on.
Yeah, yeah. Trying to see.
Did it share?
Okay, did it share? Okay, cool.
All right, awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to read the introduction so we all can be familiar with Tammy, and then we're going to jump into her sharing her story. So Tammy Finley-Stewart debut children's book is one of to grab and hold on to. Just Tammy is her author alias. As she steps out of her comfort zone of writing urban poetry and adult text, she exudes confidence in making this diverse transition. Growing up, Tammy had a difficult time verbalizing and communicating her thoughts. Her mother encouraged her to write them instead. That was the best advice anyone could have ever recommended. She began to write her thoughts without any limitations. Eventually, the skill of writing became second nature. Tammy is originally from the north side of Chicago, born and raised in the infamous Breeding Green housing project. There is where she activated her inner creativity and embraced her love for realistic happenings, translating them into unconventional stories. She imaginatively tapped into a world outside of her former existence of poverty. Tammy began writing at the tender age of 7 years old. She enjoyed creating fairy tales of places that did not exist in the world at the time. Safe to say, her way of thinking was innovative. One of the first people to notice her eccentric imagination was her fourth grade teacher, Mr. David Spearman. He encouraged her to continue writing about whatever her heart desired, no matter what others thought. So she did just that. Tammy and her family currently reside in the northern county of St. Thomas, Missouri. She is the wife of a beloved high school sweetheart and mother of six remarkable children. She is dedicated to fulfilling her life's purpose of serving others, especially the elderly and youth. Her motto is serving should start with the exiting elders and the generation and end with the yielding youth who will start a new one. Aside from writing, she enjoys cooking, hosting events, vacationing, volunteering, and spending time with her family and friends. Hello, Tammy, girl, I love that. So again, as people are coming in, again, as you coming in, I know people are asking how can they share. It is a public now, so you should be able to share it and share it and share it and share it. So we're gonna jump right in into the beginning, and I heard a bit about your beginning, right? But I still would love for you to kind of share how did that translate in the book we're gonna hear today. So when you think about the book you wrote and just how your upbringing has created who you are, what would you say are some of the pivotal things that stuck out to you in the beginning?
Well, ultimately, for those who are familiar with Cabrini Green and just Chicago, period, you'll find that it's kind of like a lot that goes on. You experience a lot. You are, dealing with a lot of things or whatever the case may be. And I was verbal, but I wasn't. I didn't know how to be verbal, like I, should be in a sense, appropriate sometimes. And so I learned to start writing. Well, before I learned, my mom kind of was like, start writing things down or whatever the case may be. If you can't get through to people with talking, just start writing them. So I did. That's just kind of what started my writing journey. I started to write, and first I would look at things like, this is crazy, ball up a piece of paper, throw it away, and go back to it sometimes because, things would happen and I would go back and say, oh, wait a minute now, put this together with that. It was almost like the 5 heartbeats things, you put that with this and it kind of, created a story. So I started to save those stories, started to look at these notebooks, and I just had these notebooks piled up and, just started to see that, oh, okay, I think I'm a little writer or something. So, I would, give things to some of the teachers and let them read, and they were impressed. So, sometimes when you get that impressed thing, you always kind of, want to move forward with things and, you get some motivation. So that's just kind of how it started, right there at home in Chicago, and just with dealing with things and just regular, experiences, I was able to be able to, unleash my writing.
I love it. So, what are the inspirations? As I know you shared about your background, but in your intro, I was able to see that you have an array of types of writing. Right? You do poetry. We're going to talk about your children's book. But what are really like the central themes or the things that you love to highlight in the stories that you write?
Well, as you can see, different genres that I write in. One of my most famous is urban writing. I consider myself unorthodox. When I write from the eyesight of young Black women, young Black men. I just kind of write for us. And so a lot of times we don't have people to speak for us, or we don't have people to represent us. And so on that side, I like to, coming from where I come from, and I, go back to that a lot because it's just so much that just kind of, molded me. One thing I can say is that I can bring the street to you, and I also can bring the intelligence to you. Mm-hmm. So bringing that together, in a writing platform can actually tell a story of many. So that's just kind of the central things. I do the urban, the urban type of writing. But I'm also, I have a soft spot with children, of course, having 6. So I have that soft spot where I need to kind of get through to them as well. I've always desired to work with youth and to be able to, translate stories and translate things to them. And so to be able to get with them or meet them where they are is where I say, it's through that writing where they understand, writing where they can resonate, things of that nature. And also I would have to say my elders. I work with elders a lot. That was one of my first loves too, to work with elders. And so I can kind of relate to them as well. So I've always had an old soul in a sense of whatever the case may be. So that's kind of where I am. So, I just kind of use the different levels of who I am to kind of create. And that's just where it comes from there, my inspiration.
I love it because even what you just said, I think being able to have text that someone can connect to. I think a lot of times, as you know, having children and working with the youth, I have a son, I work with teens as well, like them understanding that their story matters, right? And even when our stories matter, we are multidimensional. Like you said, I can come to you with however way I need to speak and you can understand, but I also can show you another side. And I think a lot of times, have you even highlighted some of those stories with the elders? Because I absolutely love working with the elderly as well. But I think that it's so much wisdom and it's so much richness, right? Because they're able to not only tell a story, but I'm going to tell my story based on my life and my experiences. So how would you say, I know you said it kind of has influenced you in your writing. You feel like you kind of embody that as well?
Yes, absolutely. And then you know what? One thing I noticed is that most elders are storytellers, and that's because they have so much to tell. So, picking up, just having a conversation sometimes with elders can just give you some of the material that you need. You know what I mean? It's just like a comedian sitting in a room with a comedian who's been doing it for a very long time. They're picking up, you know what I mean? So they're picking up on that. So one of the things I try to do is just pick up those type of things that they're talking about or what they went through, and then it kind of translated over to what's going on with today's world. So and that's how that's the connection that I have with them. And for some reason, I don't know why, but if I just go to a regular store, I'm going to have a conversation with someone. They're like, okay, and it's most times elders. They'll walk up like, and we just have a conversation. It's so genuine. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not one of those type of things where it's forced or anything like that. It's just like a genuine type of, situation. So I enjoy their company. They enjoy my company. I enjoy their stories. I enjoy the wisdom. So, it's just one of those type of things that match. And I'm happy to say that, I've been blessed to, have to experience that with them.
Yes, yes. And so we've explored the writing side. Let's talk about the publishing side, because I know that in itself could be its whole other ball game. I know that you took the route of being self-published, which I know I would love for you to talk about that. As many people who are watching, again, thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully you are able to share it because we did make it public. So if you are not able to see this live or show it to someone live, this will be downloaded and uploaded on our Birth into Books YouTube channel, which we will share that link out as well. So you'll be able to see this recording, maybe not the live stream, but you definitely will be able to see this interview. So just to give you all that heads up. But the publishing side, right? So when we think about publishing a story, we could have a book full of stories and poems. What was it like stepping out and saying, hey, I want to share more with the world? And how has that process been in becoming an author?
Well, that process is a process.
Yes.
A process. And in my instance, I call it the process. And reason being is because everything that God puts, on this earth to be great or to even be good or to just have some merit, it is a process. Yep. And so at the end of the day, I would have to say that publishing initially, I thought it was going to be one of the hardest things I had to do, but the process was kind of difficult. However, it became easy once I started to figure out that process that works for me. And I think that's what's going to happen with anyone that decides they want to write a book. You have to learn the process for yourself and what works for you best. And so I think, and it's just with life, you know what I mean? You just kind of have to find what works for you best. Well, as far as what I've learned a whole lot. And I've taken it to the process where I want to actually help others. So I actually, I'll talk a little bit more about that because a little bit more about that later. But quite honestly, the publishing process was not as difficult, I'll say, but in the initial it was, because you just didn't know. It's just like, you coming into a new job. Most times the job is difficult because you just don't know. But however, once you read the kind of handbook or whatever case may be and go through things and, oh, okay, that's all I have to do. You master it. So that's what I'm doing now.
I love it. Creative process. So we talked about publishing. And each author I talk to, there's a different way in which they capture their thoughts, they fashion their books. Have you found, like you said, your rhythm? Like, what is your creative process in which you're like, hey, how long did it take you to write? Because next is the live reading. How long did it take you to write Forever With You? And just what's your process as far as getting it from your head to the paper?
So that is actually one of those things that, I'm sorry, I thought I put me on Do Not Disturb, but it's actually on like a do not. So I have to click out of that. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So that creative process for me, I have a lot here, and I know what I want to say and do sometimes, but it's almost like difficult to get off on paper, right? But the creative process, it changes every day. So what happens is that, let's just say I want to write a book about cable TV or whatever the case may be. I want to write a book about cable TV because I know a lot about cable TV. So what happens is that you begin that process, you just dive in. So one thing I realized about me is that my mind is always over the place. One of the things I don't do is read while I'm in the creative process. People say, well, why, you don't read? Well, reason being is because I'm trying to get my thoughts out. And if it's kind of like distorted if I'm reading something.
That makes sense.
Sometimes that can translate over to what I'm trying to convey, but I don't want to cause any plagiarism in a sense. So you have to be careful. I kind of fall back and say, well, you know what? I'm just going to stop reading right now, or not read as much. You'll see me reading maybe the newspaper, whatever the case may be, but I have to zone in. I have to focus in on what I'm trying to do. So what happens is that I start to think about other things. So mind you, I'm writing about cable TV, right? But what happens is that now if I read an article and it was about innovative things that's going on with cable TV. Now I can't talk about what I already know about cable TV because now I'm focused on the innovative part of TV.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So I say with the creative part of things, what I have learned to do is just to hone in on just that one particular thing. Dive in, just to start to write about it. Just write about it. A lot of the things I do is create poems. I create poetry. Even if I'm writing just like regular writing, if I'm just doing regular writing, if it's going to be a story, I do poetry to it. The reason being is because I refer back to the poems and then I say, okay, well, let me see how I'm going to put this in, like regular verse or reading verse and things of that nature. So that creative process is a little bit kind of, creative to a person like me. It's a little bit different, but it works for me, So I have to make sure that I'm clear of any other text. And then I just kind of zone in and I just go in and I just write about that particular thing that I'm writing about, which we're talking about cable TV. So now I'm going in about cable TV. I'm just writing everything. I don't read anything about cable TV. I don't read anything of, in pertaining to that, kind of genre or whatever the case may be. And then I, create. And then I'll pull that poem in and things of that nature. So I try to bring poetry into everything that I do. Reason being is because poetry is one of those things that you like it or you don't, and so what I'm trying to do is get people to understand that, poetry is literally writing anyway. Poetry is a part of our world, and a lot of people don't understand it. So I'm just trying to get people familiar with it, understand it, and to let them know that it can be something that you can enjoy as well. So I always include poetry with things, whatever the case may be. And that's just the way that I can get things out easily. So that's my creative process. A little weird, but it works for me.
It works for you, right? So I'm excited because this is one of my favorite parts when we do these lives is that we get to actually not only promote, because I'm very big about promoting authors and their work, because I believe that we need to just continue to build our home libraries with amazing work, and we need to support our village. And so if you look at the bottom, I have where you can purchase Forever With You. We have the author here. And before we do the live reading, in which I will dismiss myself so we can listen to and see Tammy full screen, I would love you to talk a little bit about Forever With You. So what was the motivation, just as we're going into hear you reading, what kind of inspired this book and what's the message we should get?
Okay, so Forever With You basically was a project that was actually supposed to be actually something totally different. Like I told you, that creative process works differently. I actually was supposed to come out with a poetry book, my urban poetry book first. And I was working on that and I was writing, and it so happened, I want to say about a year and a half ago, my cousin fell ill. My cousin, who is more like my sister, and very close. We were close knit family. So when she fell ill, it was kind of out of nowhere. And it was a quick demise. And so when we lost her, she left behind a son. She left behind a small son. And all that was in my mind, every day I kept thinking about her, I kept thinking about her son. His name is Carter. Very awesome kid. And she was a very awesome person. And so when I kept thinking, like, what am I going to do here? What am I going to do here? Whatever the case may be, to kind of just be in a situation where I was like, how can I dedicate something to her? How can I dedicate something to him and just let them know that we're still here? And because it was tough. It was tough for the entire family. I couldn't figure out what to do. So I ended up getting sick. I got ill around the time Corona hit very hard. And I was dealing with it like very badly. And all I can think about while I was sick was her and Carter. And so I'm like, oh my God. So this book was actually named something else and everything. The reason why I won't give the name is because I'm probably going to still do that project. Now, I started writing, and everything that came out of me was about Carter and her. So that's kind of how this book came about. It's a little emotional, so sorry if I'm becoming emotional, whatever the case may be, but it's very near and dear to my heart. So I had to, just do what I had to do when it came down to that. So I penned it, and it got changed around a couple of times, whatever the case may be. So I had went to say that it was gonna be published, and things weren't going right. The publisher that I was dealing with, the illustrator that I was dealing with changed about 3 or 4 times. I mean, it was a rough process. So all I kept thinking about was like, what's going to happen with this book? What is going to happen? I'm just going to shelve it. I'm going to do something else. And when I got sick, I couldn't do anything really. But I turned my computer on to call myself to go catch up on Chicago Fire and Chicago PD. And it wouldn't play. And all that popped up was, Forever With You. That was I had renamed it, and it kept popping up. And so I went over there, and I was weak. I didn't really have any, any type of energy or anything. So I went in and I just wrote. And when I wrote, I completely did everything, this entire book. That day, I did that entire book. And I sent it over to editing. And they were like, oh my God, I like this one way better than what you sent over, and all of that. And so they ended up, editing it. The illustrator, he came through. And it was just in a small amount of time, and he was able to capture everything that I wanted when it came down to the illustration. So I said, this is it. I called my mom and I said, Mom, this is it. And, I submitted everything over, and then I started that process of self-publishing. And so that was the real inspiration behind Forever With You. And not just with, my cousin and her child, but it's also with anyone who has children left behind. I want this book to be a feel-good book, to be a motivational book and inspiring for those who are dealing with things like that. Sometimes it's so hard for children to understand why my mom or why my daddy is not here. And sometimes to even, not even understand how to move on or how to move forward. So this book is definitely dedicated to those children. And I just, just would like for anyone to, if you have anyone that has lost someone, just get it, read it. It represents us. It has illustrations. I made sure the illustrations were depicting our everyday and people who can relate to us. So that's the inspiration behind With You.
And let me say this before we go to the live reading. This is why it's so important that we are obedient to what things God put on our hearts, right? And why it's so important that we understand we all have a story. And I work with a lot of authors. I mean, me and my family are really big about books. And I believe it's important. And the reason I mention that is because I have never heard a book that tackles that topic. And it's a topic that I think is very prevalent in our neighborhoods and our families. And if you are, say, I'm just trying to think about even individuals who may have lost, like their mother or father, or, even if I'm a grandmother and I took, in my kids, like, how do I relay that we are still together as a family? Like, how can I articulate that in a story in a way that a kid can understand? And so I just wanted you to understand the power of that. And whoever is listening, if you have a book on your heart, a story in your heart, it's needed. Like, not only is there not enough text that represent us, there's also not enough text that represent just real life issues that we're trying to battle and work through as families. And a lot of times, like how music, like I feel like that's what music is to me. Music is a way that connects and understands and helps you to just kind of work through things in a way that maybe you just can't say in just normal conversation. I think the same thing in stories. Like stories, the themes and the messages allow something that may be difficult to talk about in a conversation, but it can be addressed through a story. And so I just wanted to say thank you for writing this. And I look forward. And now it is time for us to hear Forever With You.
Okay, everyone, we are going to start with Forever With You. Before I show the, I'll try to get closer so you can see pictures and all. Forever With You by Tammy Finley-Stewart. Forever With You. I'll read the dedication to you. This book is devoted to my late cousin and sister, Lauren Yvette Crawford, affectionately known as Dee. Before Lauren fell ill, she mothered a child who absolutely adored her. The news of her passing was a devastating shock for our entire family. The most challenging aspect was realizing she was leaving behind a young child. This book was written with love and hopes to offer a sense of comfort, ease, and security to the son of Lauren and the world of motherless and fatherless children left to navigate this world without their parents. This one is dedicated to you. And I'll read my thank yous. I think they're special and I think they're important. To my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, thank you, thank you, thank you. I will continue to operate in obedience. To my second pair of eyes, ears, and sixth sense, my best friend and my husband. There are not enough words in the world to express how much I love and appreciate you. Thank you for sticking with me through this process. To my exceptional, supportive, and loving mother, I am very much grateful for having a praying, loving, and sweet woman like you in my life. I thank God for choosing me to be your daughter. Thank you for the genuine excitement and support you have shown throughout this process. To my incredible and fun family of 6, Shadi Jr., Brooklyn, Britton, Zaire, Zuri, and Zoe. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for granting me many hours away from you and to finish this project. As with everything, you are a part of the process and you are the reason for the process. Mommy loves you all very much. To my second family, the Crawfords, I hope you understand how much my heart loves all of you. I thank you so much for always accepting me for who I am and loving me unconditionally. You are the epitome of family and love, nothing more, nothing less. To my Finley family, thank you for the sense of family, good, bad, or indifferent. We were chosen for one another. May God continue to strengthen our family as we live, love, and grow. Thank you for helping me mature into the person that I am today. I love you all. Those are my thank yous. And now we are diving into the story here. When you feel sad, remember my smile. It will be with you forever, my child. I pray your sadness only lasts for a little while. When you begin to miss me, remember my love. It will shine from the stars in the skies above. When you feel afraid, remember you are stronger than your fear. I may seem far away, but I will always be near. When you are having a bad day, remember to pray, pray, and pray. God is listening to all that you have to say. When you want to see my face, remember you have my picture in a frame. You are always a piece of me. You will carry on my name. When you feel lost and lonely, remember my touch. I am here with you always. I love you so very much. When you feel in a panic, remember to stay calm. Close your eyes and touch your palm. I will protect you like the Bible says in the 23rd Psalms. When you are not sure, remember to ask God for the cure. You can trust and believe that God's love is pure. When you want to talk to me, find a quiet, cozy place. Tell me everything you would like. I am your angel, your in grace. When it is time to learn a lesson, do not try guessing. Listen to your elders, they are truly a blessing. When you feel you are alone, remember you have family that care. Do not be afraid to let them be there. When you feel the need to weep or just need a hug, someone will always be there. It's called unconditional love. When you grow older, remember me in your heart. That is where forever love ends and starts. Help around the house and keep up with your things. Take care of your toys and keep your room clean. When you fail at something, it can feel bad within. Remember to stay focused and try again. That is the difference between a loss and a win. Be gentle and pleasant every day. Remember to treat people kind. Remember to treat people kind. It will take you a long way. Work hard at all you do. See every mission through. No matter what anyone says, remember you are able to. Follow your heart and dare to dream. Remember, no fan club is greater than your support team. Obey the rules and do well in school. Remember, being smart is super duper cool. When you get stuck or feel out of luck, remember to keep pushing and to never give up. Be encouraged and try new things. You can play an instrument, rap, dance, or sing. Explore the world, think big, and dream. When family and friends come together for holidays, remember to celebrate those special days. Make memories together in many ways. Family is love. That is what we must pray. In this lifetime, there will be joy and pain. Remember, there's a rainbow after all the rain. When you are remembering all that I have taught you, remember this too. No matter when and where, I am forever with you. The end. And it's just about the author. I hope you enjoy Forever With You.
That was amazing.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's show her some love in the chat. I mean, it was all kind of hearts. This is uplifting. Thank you.
Thank you.
They said they read this book quite often to Carter. And again, just thank you, thank you, thank you. As we continue on, just so you all know, as we're getting towards the end, if there's any specific questions you would like for me to ask Tammy, put it in the chat. We have about 1 or 2 left, and then we're going to be at the end. But again, please show love. I truly believe in just giving people their flowers. So thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to continue with our questions. Yeah, and my next question is just simply, what advice, what advice do you think you have for those who are aspiring artists themselves? Maybe they're like, I got a whole bunch of stories on the shelf. I heard her talking about stories on the shelf. I got a whole bunch. What would you say? What would you say to those artists?
I would absolutely say, I'm glad you asked about the creative process, because everyone's creative process is different. So I would ultimately say, figure out their creative process for yourself first, before you dive into anything. Just figure out and it's almost just like figuring out who you are and who you want to be to the world. Because you can be, you are who you are, but sometimes you need to mold that person into who you want everyone else to look at you as. And so create that person, create that person. There's nothing wrong with creating a person outside of yourself. But just make sure you're staying true to who you actually are. So, and for aspiring artists, stay true to yourself. Write authentically. Give the world what you authentically want them to have, read, and see.
Love you, love you, love you. So just so you know, someone said this is motivation for me to finish my second book. It will be necessary. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So as we continue, what do you desire next? Like, I know you have quite a few things you do. Yeah, what's up? What's next?
So ultimately, one thing I didn't say before I came and offered myself, I actually became a ghostwriter by default. And so I've been ghostwriting before I even did my own project. I've ghostwritten a few things, and so a few things for other people. So just last year, I decided to step out on faith, and I created Just Tammy Writes LLC. Wow. And this company is basically an organization, I shall call it. It's an organization that will actually, I'm stepping out on faith to help people to do the same process, which is self-published. If you are interested in writing your own story, writing a children's story, and you're willing to learn this process with me, because I am still learning. However, I will give you all of me as I do all the time. So I'm walking that process. I'm doing that process, and I've created that company, and I've got a lot of projects under my belt. Right now, I'm working on 2 projects now, ghostwriting projects, including my second project that will debut April of 2021. So under the Just Tammy Writes LLC, that is what I'm doing, and that is what's next. So if you desire to write your own story, I have a couple more openings for the next couple of months, and you can reach out to me via Facebook. I help people do memoirs. I help people do children's stories, things of that nature. I can ghostwrite for you, or I also can just help you through that process. That is what my services offer, and that is what I'm walking into next.
Love it. So does it provide, like, if I'm trying to do a children's book, connecting with illustrators, like the publishing, like the whole 9?
That is what I am doing. I am trying to get people connected, because one thing I'm doing is I learned is that to teach people the process is actually good too. So some people like I said, if I'm doing the ghostwriting thing, I'm doing it, you're giving me what you kind of want, and I just make that happen for you. Some people want to learn the process. Mm-hmm. If you want to learn the process, I'm going to be honest, it's rigorous, and it is a way that you have to be committed. You just can't be committed to your story. You have to be committed to the process.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you can go whichever way you want. So I am going through the illustrative portion, the publishing portion. I'm going to walk with you through that entire process to make sure that you are happy with your product. You can be proud of your product. And so that's what I'm walking into. And yes, that is the options that I am providing.
Awesome. So how can people stay connected with you? How could they learn of these services? How could they learn more about the writings you're going to do? Like what's the way for them to connect?
Right now, I have a website that is under construction. Give me a couple more weeks and it will be up, and it'll be for Just Tammy Writes LLC. A lot of people follow me on Facebook, and I have an Instagram, but I guess I got to get a little bit more Instagrammy. Is that what they call it?
Girl, you need to get it's all these social media platforms. Like I can only stay up to date on so many.
I closed with the Facebook, but I think I need to, venture out a little bit more. I do Twitter a little bit, but I think I got turned off with Twitter when they say the followers. I don't like to follow anybody, but I don't know. It was just a weird thing in my mind. So I was like, okay, whatever. And it was just, kind of difficult to follow. So I just kind of veered off into doing Facebook mostly, but I think I'm about to start venturing out because it's a different platform out here. It's a different platform on Instagram and it's a different, platform on Facebook, and we just have to get with it. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way of the world now. So you can find me at Sweet Neck Bones on Instagram, and you can find me at Tammy Stewart. And I'll be making a Just Tammy page. Just Tammy is my author alias. A lot of people know, but some people don't. So I will provide that information as well. So you'll be able to reach me at Tammy Finley-Stewart on Facebook. And Just Tammy will have a page. And Forever With You has its own page. But what I'll do is combine all of those. Within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to combine all of those and put it under Just Tammy LLC. So you'll be able to reach out to me there.
Awesome. So in closing, I just want to say thank you so very much. This has been amazing. Everyone who's in the chat, I know when you go back and later see it, has been just showing so much love and so appreciative of this time. Before I let you go, it's Black History Month, and I always throw in a little extra question with every interview. Okay, all right, changing the narrative. Got my t-shirts over here. Yep. It's Black History Month, and I'm all about music and the arts. I would love to hear, what about like 2 or 3 songs? People in the chat, you can put this in as well. What are 2 or 3 songs that you think embody Black history and us as a people? Like, what would be if you had a playlist, how Apple Music has a playlist, what would be the playlist for you?
What would be the playlist for me? Let me say, see, I'm not good at titles, but I can give you the artist, and then we could go from there, because my artists, you could just put them on play and they can just go. So I grew up in a house with Smokey Robinson, the Motown deal, and I'm gonna have to go with Smokey Robinson. Like Smokey brings it, but he brings it on different levels, and Smokey's a great writer. And so I feel like that Smokey would have to be, the epitome of our, Black history, period. We just you can't say Black and not say Smokey, so I'm going to have to go with Smokey Robinson. And that's just kind of how I grew up. We got the famous Lauryn Hill. Definitely got to go Lauryn Hill.
I love Lauryn. Yeah.
We got to go Lauryn Hill. Say It Loud. Say It Loud. James Brown. The obvious. I would have to say James Brown, Say It Loud. And Fight the Power, Public Enemy.
Yes.
That's where we at now. That's where we at. So we fight, and you know what? We fighting for the power. And because we've been without it so long, but it's our time and it's coming. We coming through. So definitely I would have to say Public Enemy, Fight the Power. So yeah, that would be my playlist. As a matter of fact, let me get my playlist together.
I know, right? Like we got some things to add to the playlist. So Rhea said, Sam Cooke, girl, I love me some Sam Cooke now.
We were just talking about Sam Cooke today. So yeah.
Marvin Gaye, what's going on? Someone put in the chat. I totally agree. I am a huge Stevie Wonder friend. So when you talk about Smokey, I think there's no way you can go wrong with Stevie Wonder. So I think
my husband household.
What do you say?
That's my husband childhood household person. We were Stevie, they were Stevie. But I agree. Stevie got the real. Stevie got the real for us.
And I think we got so much beautiful music out here. So we can have lists for days. So thank you. Oh wait. They still giving it to a Home by Stephanie Mills. Okay. Okay, Stephanie, we get through. Okay. But yes, I just want to say again, thank you so much for everyone who tuned in, who stayed with us, who shared, who haven't bought the book yet. You're going to buy the book. Go to Amazon, purchase. Um, on here, we've heard people say they're gonna write their second book. You already heard. If you need support, Tammy is here for you. And then I just think it's important. I'm so excited also that you're going to be a guest author for our book club, which I am so excited about. Because my babies, I can't wait till they hear this book. And my parents, we're gonna add it to our home library. So again, thank you for coming. Thank you for spending this Wednesday with us. You all, thank you. We love you. And you have any closing words? If not, we out.
Closing words. See you guys later. Just Tammy. We'll see you later. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in.
Yes. See you all next time.